was 17 when I watched my best friend disappear into a room she never came out of alive. They told us we were going to model for Victoria's Secret. I still have the bracelet they gave us when we arrived on the island, pink cheap plastic with a number on it. Mine was 14. Maya's was 15. I keep it in a box under my bed because I can't look at it, but I can't throw it away either. Summer 2001, I was working at a smoothie shop near South Beach in Miami. Maya had just turned 18 2 weeks before. We'd been best friends since middle school. I was saving money because my mom was working 3 jobs and we were about to lose our apartment. $2,000 for a weekend sounded like a miracle. The woman who approached us wore a Chanel suit. I'd never seen Chanel in real life before. She had perfect white teeth and a European accent I couldn't place. She came in twice before she talked to us. The third time, she said she worked for a modeling agency. High-end clients. Very exclusive. She showed us photos on her phone, girls on yachts, champagne, older men in the background wearing expensive watches. They just like pretty girls around, she said. You don't have to do anything you don't want to. We should have known. The private plane left from a small airport outside Miami on a Friday morning, 6 of us total, ages 16 to 19, 2 girls from Russia who barely spoke English, one from the Dominican Republic, Maya and me, and another American girl from Orlando who said she'd done this before, that it was easy money. They took our phones before takeoff. For privacy, they said. These men are very famous, very powerful. They value discretion. We were too excited to argue. I'd never been on a private plane. There was champagne in crystal glasses, leather seats softer than anything I'd ever touched, right? We were kids playing dress up in an adult world we didn't understand. The flight was maybe an hour. When we landed, I saw palm trees and white sand and water so blue it didn't look real. Golf carts waited on the tarmac. The mansion looked like something from a movie, but there were cameras everywhere, on the trees, above the doors, little black domes on the ceilings watching everything. Maya squeezed my hand when we got out of the cart. She whispered, "If anything feels wrong, we leave together. Promise me." I promised. They gave us uniforms, white tennis skirts, 2 small, tight polo shirts. I remember laughing nervously because it felt like a bizarre costume party. The girl from Orlando didn't laugh. She just changed and told us to do whatever we were told and we'd be fine. An older woman with a clipboard came to get us for dinner. British accent, cold eyes like polished stones. She told us the rules. Smile, be polite, accept drinks, but don't get drunk. If a guest asks you to go somewhere with them, you go. If you cause problems, you'll be sent home immediately and you won't be paid. And that's when I started feeling sick. Dinner was on a terrace overlooking the ocean, maybe a dozen men, 50s, 60s, 70s. Expensive suits even in the heat. I recognized one face from television, but I couldn't place it. The host introduced himself as a friend who wanted to make sure we had a wonderful weekend. He was maybe 50, thin, dead eyes. He touched everyone when he talked, shoulder, lower back, hand lingering too long. Maya barely ate. After dinner, she told me she wanted to leave. I said we would. First thing in the morning, they told us the next boat to the mainland wasn't until Monday. We'd have to wait just 2 more days. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I heard one of the Russian girls screaming. She was trying to leave. 2 security guards in polo shirts physically carried her back inside. I watched from the window. No one helped her. No one even looked. At breakfast, there was a schedule posted in the kitchen, massage appointments, times and room numbers and initials I didn't recognize. Maya's name was there, 2 p.m., room 7, HRH. My name was at 4 a.m. I told the British woman I was sick, that I had my period, that I couldn't do this, and she just smiled and said everyone gets nervous the first day. The guard standing behind her didn't smile. He just stared. They separated us after breakfast. I was taken to a spa room in the basement, forced bath, hair, makeup, nails. There were 3 other girls there. One was crying silently while someone waxed her legs. Another just stared at the wall with blank eyes, face completely empty. A girl who looked about 20 leaned over while they did my makeup. She whispered in my ear, "Don't fight, go somewhere else in your head, count something. It ends faster if you don't fight." I started shaking. At 4 p.m., a handler walked me down a long hallway. The room was on the 3rd floor. It looked like a hotel room, expensive but impersonal. There were locks on the outside of the door. The man was waiting inside, European accent, wedding ring. He told me I was very pretty. He poured himself a scotch. The smell of it made my stomach turn. I'm not going to describe what happened. I can't. What I'll tell you is that there was a clock on the wall. It felt like hours. It was 23 minutes. I counted tiles on the ceiling. There were 84. When it was over, he left $500 on the dresser. The handler was waiting outside to take me back to my room. Maya wasn't there. Other girls came back throughout the evening. Maya didn't. I asked everyone I could find, staff, security, the other girls. No one would tell me anything. That night, I banged on every locked door I could reach until a guard grabbed my arm hard enough to bruise and told me to go to bed. The next morning, they said Maya took a helicopter to the mainland. She was done early, very lucky, but all her things were still in our room. Her clothes, her makeup bag, her inhaler. Maya was severely asthmatic. She wouldn't go anywhere without that inhaler, not to the corner store, not anywhere. That's when I knew. That evening, they told me I was invited to a special party, yacht trip with VIP guests. Huge honor. I got on the boat because I didn't know what else to do. I was standing near the stern when I heard two security guys talking. They didn't know I spoke Spanish. One of them said something about, like the last one couldn't handle it. The other one laughed and said at least it was quick, that a hospital would ask too many questions. They were talking about the girl from yesterday. Maya had her appointment yesterday. I understood then. Standing on that boat, surrounded by dark ocean and powerful men who thought they could do anything. Maya was dead, and I would be next if I didn't get out. I went to the bathroom and threw up. Then I started planning. Back on the island that night, I watched everything. Guard rotations when the boats came and went, where the cameras pointed. There was a woman who worked in the kitchen, local, maybe 50? She had kind eyes. I told her my friend disappeared and I needed help. She looked scared. She said many girls ask about friends. I begged, I cried. Finally, she said she had children of her own. She would leave one door unlocked. That's all she could do. But 3 days after Maya disappeared, I waited until 3 in the morning. I took Maya's inhaler so her mother would know what happened to her. The kitchen door was unlocked like the woman promised. I made it through the service corridors to the dock. There was a small maintenance boat. Keys in the ignition. My hands shook so hard I could barely turn them. The engine sounded like an explosion in the silence. Lights came on in the mansion. Shouting, I pointed the boat toward lights on the horizon and pushed the throttle down. A larger boat came after me. I could see the spotlight sweeping the water like a searchlight, hunting prey. The radio crackled with voices. Bring her back. Can't let her reach. My boat was running out of gas when I saw the fishing vessel. I waved and screamed until they saw me. 3 local fishermen pulled me on board. The boat that was chasing me turned away when they realized there were witnesses. Those fishermen saved my life. They took me to the Dominican Republic mainland. I filed a police report. The officer barely wrote anything down. The U.S. Embassy got me a flight home. They asked if I'd been drinking, if I'd taken drugs, if I went willingly at first. I reported everything to the FBI in 2001. Names, dates, the island location. They said they'd look into it. Years passed. Nothing happened. Maya was listed as a missing person. Presumed runaway. I had to meet with her mother and tell her what happened. I gave her the inhaler. She held it and wept, and the sound of it broke something in me that never healed. I carried that guilt for 18 years. I made it out. She didn't. In 2019, I saw his face on the news. Jeffrey Epstein arrested. I started shaking so hard I dropped my coffee cup. Other survivors started coming forward. I wasn't alone. We weren't crazy. It had all been real. Then he died in that cell. Maya would have been 39 this year. She wanted to be a teacher. She loved kids. She had this laugh that made everyone around her laugh too. I think about her every single day. I think about the other girls who didn't make it off that island, the ones whose names we don't know, the ones who were silenced. This isn't just my story, it's theirs. I survived to tell this. Maya didn't, but I won't let her be forgotten. And as long as I'm breathing, as long as I can speak her name, she's still here. That pink bracelet in the box under my bed, number 15, it's not just a piece of plastic anymore. It's proof, it's evidence, it's a promise that the truth doesn't die just because powerful men want it to.